Kia ora everybody and welcome back to the Good Day Matrix. My name is Daz and I have the very big privilege today of being here in Cambridge with the amazing Stacey. Thank you for having us today, Stacey.
Thank you.
Her whare is amazing. Stacey has an incredible passion for ethical fashion and is the founder of Harrïe and Sam. Stacey has a Bachelor of Management Studies and is Waikato born and bred, which... And I've got to shout out to Sacred Heart too at the same time, actually. A Sacred Heart girl. Stacey loves reading, she loves gardening, she loves quality time with her family and her friends, especially her beautiful, gorgeous little Jimmy. And Harrïe, who we met earlier, her beautiful dog, who makes really funny sounds. So thank you so much for your time today. We love talking to people about wellbeing, and that's our genuine goal, is just to inspire curiosity for people to get passionate and get curious about what else they can do to prioritise their wellbeing, because life is busy and things are hard, and it's just trying to show different ways people take care of their wellbeing, so that there might just be that little thing that they're like, I could actually try that. That's something I'm going to do. So thank you so much for sharing your story with us today.
No worries.
We talk about 5 pillars of wellbeing: body, mind, identity, community and environment. And there's lots, by all means, that's not it, but there's the ones we focus on. So we'll start with identity. So it's really important to know who you are and where you've come from and sort of how you've come along the journey. So tell us about your whakapapa and how you've got to here.
So we are, like you said, Hamilton born and bred. That's kind of, sadly, I don't know if it's sad, but a lot of what I've known, have travelled and whatnot, but always been pulled back home. And I think a lot of that is because we've had grandparents, both set of grandparents that have been here, grandparents that have been here, and our whole family's actually come back too from being around different spots. So yeah, I think Hamilton has been a big part of me and studying here. Lived in Australia for a wee bit. And then, just being around family, being nice and close and having that support network and closeness is really important to our family. Growing up with grandparents just right down the road has been amazing. Sisters are back. So now with having 5 grandchildren on my side of the family, we just like to spend a lot of our time together and do the little holidays and catch-ups and keeping life pretty simple, really.
That's really beautiful and lovely. I'm an only child, so I envy when I hear that families can come together with cousins. It's so cool. Yeah,
and your childhood, right? Because you know what it's like to be without that. So I suppose it's quite important for your kids and you to have that closeness with siblings and
3 children, so that they can hopefully
expand,
make the family bigger again. We'll see, time will tell.
Ups and downs with sisters though. There's 3 girls in our family, so it's has had our interesting stages, and we've had our...
That's probably something interesting to talk about around whakapapa, because I have 3 kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, and their dynamics I don't understand, because they'll go from being best friends to absolutely at war, that I think, oh my god, someone's going to lose a limb. So what is that actually like?
I think it's... I always envied wanted to have a brother, because we didn't have that, so it'd be like you with other siblings. And I think what's interesting is that there's different times you get along. So I've got I'm the middle child, so I get the classic middle child stuff, which I totally defend myself. But I think you've got these different personality sets and different situations you're going to get along better anyway. There's the competitive stage, there's the we love each other stage, there's the we hate each other stage, and throughout life that's kind of changed too. So now that we've got children, I look back to when I didn't have kids and my poor sister, because I would have been like, why are you going to go home at 6:30? That's ridiculous. And now I'm like, I actually get that, because kids get really feral and they will fall asleep in the car. So those respects have changed over time too, and understanding each stage of each of our lives and seeing that from a younger and an older perspective as a middle child's quite cool.
Yeah. And I think just great learnings too, right? To actually be aware of those learnings, because some people probably don't pick up on those learnings or be aware of the environment.
And quite different stories for each of us too, so you can really learn a lot from each other. And we do tend to lean on each other a lot, which we're really lucky. So no matter of our differences and no matter of how much things change and distance and whatnot, we've always got that support. So
that's so
really
cool.
lucky.
That's so cool. I love that. So we'll move into body. And so you are really passionate about living a healthy lifestyle.
Yes.
And you've done really well at creating some really strong boundaries. So sort of talk to us about your routines or rituals or what you do for your body.
Well, the interesting thing is when you first contacted me, I was like, body, oh my God, I don't go to the gym. Oh, I don't do that and I don't do this and whatnot. But actually, as I've gotten older and when I've thought about this topic a bit more, I've realised that it's actually not necessarily what workout you do or how often you're running and if you can run. It's more about actually taking care of you as a person and your physical being. And that's been a really big learning for me over time because I actually at school I rode, which is almost laughable now because I wouldn't know what to do. But I was really, really passionate about that because one, the team, two, how it made you feel, and three, the challenge. Like it was a wicked challenge managing school and whatnot. And I'm really grateful for that experience because I think it's taken it sort of into my sort of adult life quite well with balance. But yeah, so I have learnt also, I mentioned to you that my dad passed away from cancer and that was just over a year ago, and that was a massive awakening to me about taking care of your actual physical being because it doesn't mean that you have to be running every day, but it's about doing the right things, putting the right thing in your body, balance and stress, which is a really massive learning for anyone now, I think. Yeah, so rituals wise, I love walking. I'm like a little old lady around our neighbourhood and I talk to everybody and have a great time. And I might go for a walk around the block and it takes me an hour because I'm chatting away. But fresh air, getting outside, just moving in general and just being out there. We've actually just bought bikes. Nice. So I'm now that lady with the baby on the back. And just taking up opportunities to be out and about and moving.
I like how you said, and it sounds like such a silly thing to bring up, but you said if you can run, because I'm a person unfortunately who had a shock of birth, the first child, and so that really depleted the idea that I run anymore or jump on a trampoline or do any of those fun things because so it's nice to be like if you can run.
Yeah,
it was something I used to.
If you can, because I am not a natural runner. No. In fact, we've just got a treadmill because this is part of the whole balance of being able to do these things with a baby at home and a business at home. And I won't let Rowdy come in.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like...
grinding away.
Well, I will learn to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be Phoebe from Friends,
if
you know what I'm talking about. And just be free. Who cares? Who cares what you look like?
Yeah, I don't care. It's just some fabric watching me in there.
So that's a great sort of already idea about having the treadmill at home because how you prioritise your body when you've got a baby, when you've got work must be really, really hard. So how do you do that?
Yeah, I have struggled, if I'm honest, because it's been a really big thing having, my personal choice was no daycare before one. And that's only because at our age and stage of life and took us a while to have a family, so I wanted to really enjoy that first year. So it was a choice that I took upon myself to be like, I'm going to work it out for that first year. I'm going to make it work. Yeah. So Rowdy, my husband, stays at home on a Tuesday so I can work, and then we've had my mum. So I've sort of compartmentalised those days. Yeah. And then I said to myself, I'm going to take him outside for a walk every day. Yeah. And then you get weather like we've had. So yeah, it's just been that daily grind, that challenge, the weather, everything. And I started to find actually over winter that I was getting a little bit like, oh, what do I do? Like I've got this baby inside, he's at the stage where he's frustrated because he can't move. And so I chose to get a treadmill so that I could take myself away when he slept and when I wouldn't work. And even if it's just the slowest burn for half an hour with a little bit of TV, and it set me straight again. So
amazing, eh? And just I think there's a book by a guy called Robin Sharma, and the line that it stuck with me this day was, you wouldn't break a promise to anybody else. So why do you break it to yourself? And so like if you know
So true.
there's this thing you need and it's something small, a walk, a run, a step in the garden, whatever it is, like you wouldn't let anyone else down if you said you were going to be somewhere or do something. So don't let yourself down. Like, and so that's helped me so much in terms of like sticking to something now, because I'm like, I'm going to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning every day is hard.
Yeah, it is.
But it's the only time I can fit exercise in. So it's, but you know, the alarm will go off, and there's so many times I've gone to do it. I'm like, you wouldn't break a promise.
You wouldn't not get up for that person.
Yeah, and if someone else,
in the morning.
So, and I roll myself out of bed, and I, and I'm fine. Within seconds, you're awake and you're fine. Everything's fine. But it's just that initial.
It's that mental breakthrough that you've got to get, and then you're like, okay, no, I can do it.
Yeah, I can support myself to do this.
Yeah, and that's such a good way to look at it, because if you're a loyal person, which sounds like you are, it's like, why would you let yourself down?
Yeah. And
then you're setting out the day how you want it to be, as opposed to like snooze.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what, like even if I was trying to do that at 6 o'clock at night, like I'm going to do it at 6 o'clock at night, then I would find every excuse not to do it.
Yeah, which is what I do at night.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, I'm tired. Yeah. I save my favourite TV programs and I won't let myself watch it until I'm on the treadmill, and then I have my iPad and I'm like, Love Island.
Don't whisper that. Don't whisper that. Sammy, the cameraman in the back's got a Love Island drink bottle. Good. I used to, when I was a stay-at-home mum, watch those kind of shows and be like, "That's my secret thing." Now I'm like, tell everyone.
Yeah, now I'm proud of it.
It's trash. So you don't have to worry about it.
It's absent-minded.
It's great. Yeah, you don't have to engage. Yeah, it's brilliant. So we'll move into mine now that we're talking about mine. So you have learned a lot about choosing to be present. Mm-hmm. So talk to us about that. Talk to us about the strategies that you've learned and how you've come to that place.
I think it's just been time, and it's been through probably a long time actually. I've had the business for 6 years. 3 of those, Three of those I worked full time, and then had the business on the side. So that was really hard, but it was what we had to do. We were building this house, and we just were really, really busy. And it was a choice that I made. I wanted to be able to have my salary shifted from a full-time job to my business, and I didn't want to have to make a financial sacrifice, which probably, I mean, it's different for everybody, but it was just our stage of life. So I hustled hard, and that meant that I was working all the time. Mm-hmm. Like I actually remember one day being like, I need to go to bed. Like I am so tired, I need to go to bed. And I just couldn't, because I literally had to get stuff done. I had to go to New Plymouth the next morning, and I knew it wasn't a safe balance either. Yeah. So I was on the road, I was doing all sorts of things, really busy, but I literally just didn't have the choice. And at that point, I think it probably was the hardest, and that was not long before I made the decision to leave my job. But yeah, I think you have to look back in reflection at these things and go, what do I not want to do again? Yep. And how can I get there? And part of that for me is being really strategic with my time. Yep. So I almost, like, it sounds a bit sad, but I almost schedule downtime, because otherwise, as a business owner, there's 1,000 things that you need to do. I'm a mad list person, and I have like a primary, intermediate, and I know there's an actual theory behind this, but I just put it into slots. And then sometimes if I am feeling that fatigue, or I have a friend say, do you want to have a coffee? And it's the stuff I really want to be doing. I look at that and I'm like, actually, that can wait. Yep. It's not a big deal. That can move. I'm going to be realistic about changing things and my own expectations so that I can create space in my life to actually live. Yeah. Because it's really important. Otherwise, it's like, wow, I'm 50 and last time I checked I was 30. Yep.
So, and the last time I saw my friend was ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And often, and what would happen is when I was at work, so I would leave that working from home with my full-time job environment, go to work where I'd have to be at work, and I'd have these really cool conversations with my customers. I was the sales rep. And I'd be like, this is what I'm missing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not having this interaction with people because I have this constant list that I'm not prepared to change.
Yep.
So I need to look at this again and be like, where am I? What am I doing? Like, actually live your life a little bit.
Yeah.
And we went to Europe and I was opening and closing pre-sales in like Portugal. Like, had to do it.
Yeah.
But also I'm in Europe. I need to shut that and move on.
Yeah.
So big learning, and it will always be. I don't think you can ever get to a really comfortable place, but if you're prepared to always learn and always evolve, then you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, I agree. And awareness, right, is if we keep staying in that busy rut and we don't lift our heads up to look around us, nothing ever is going to change. I'm a real list person too. These guys will again attest. I have a box beside each of my things, and I just have great satisfaction in ticking off.
Do you draw your own box?
I draw my own box, yeah.
That's
I do.
so good.
And if I've done the task and it wasn't on the list, I write it on so I can tick it off.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
that guy. But what I found last year is I see this giant list and I'm the same. So I know what's critical, I know what is coming that I need to start working on, then I know that there's these baseline ones, and I get distracted by baseline ones because they're easy and I can get rid of them. But then I'd tick it off and it would get filed somewhere and it didn't even matter.
Yeah.
But I needed to get it done because it was on the list. And so this year I've made a real conscious effort to be like, these are our strategic goals. These are the critical things I need to do. And like I've got a list, but I don't see it every day. Yeah. Because then I don't get bogged into...
Yeah.
And so I just, focus on the...
And it's important to create that physical space too. Like, that list does not leave my office. Yeah. Because that's the challenge of working at home too, is that you've got this environment that always feels like work. Yeah. And then you're sort of like, I'll just head in there and have a look. But then you're not present. Yeah. And it's been a juggle with the baby, because I actually found that the 4-month period where most parents will know of the sleep regression, and it's just relentless. Because before that he slept, and I was like, cool, I work when he sleeps, and then that goes way out the window, and you're like, I work in 33 minutes every however many hours or whatever, and you're trying to like hustle hard in that time and get things done, but again, without that mental flexibility of that being okay to not work sometimes is really important. Yeah. Because otherwise you create this like just layered stress that actually doesn't need to be there.
Yeah. And the unfortunate part is more often than not, we're putting the expectation and pressure on ourselves.
100%.
There's no external person going, I need this by this time. Exactly. You're just going, I've got to get this done.
And if you picked up the phone and you're like, look, my baby hasn't slept. I'm really stressed. I'm actually not even dressed yet. And it's 4:00, but can I get it to you tomorrow? Because I know I've got an hour tonight. Everyone would be like, sweet,
and
no
please
problem.
Don't do it tonight. Sleep tonight.
Yeah.
Worry
totally.
about it tomorrow. Yep.
It's just that internal pressure that we put on ourselves.
Yeah. A lot to be said for it. So we'll move into community. So when we talk about communities, and we got asked a question a while ago, like, is there another word for community? So we were looking into that, because it can be a misunderstood word, but it can be anything from a book club to a rugby club to the community that you build online. Like there's all these different kinds of communities, and it's what you make of it and what you create within it. So talk to us about the communities you're a part of and finding your tribes along the way.
The funny thing is, I was like, shit, I need to find a book club so I can tell you I do something. But then when you explained that on the phone too, I was like, actually, there's a lot of community within my business, and I think that's what we discussed in our little chat. And another thing in reflection too is that those communities change through different seasons of your life, and in the past that has been the physical community of like a netball team or something, and over time it's like that might be less attainable because of other things. So for this season of my life, I think the community is my business, because I've got an awesome team within that and awesome customers, and I have spent a lot of my awesome customers. I spend a lot of my effort and time focusing on that. So within our community of Harrïe and Sam, we are really good friends, we're really good colleagues, we are really good support people for each other, and I try to encourage openness to a point of each individual and just being there for one another, because we all sort of know, like we're in a similar phase of life, and if something happens, we're like, hey, I just can't deal with that today. Can you help me out? So there's that community. I was talking about my neighbours and how much I talk to them. Obviously, there's like our local community, and then also like our friendship community, I guess. And we just put a fair bit of effort into that now with a young family and making sure that we've got those connections and people around us, because that's what matters, really.
Yeah. And I wouldn't take for granted your local community, because more often than not when we talk to people, they're like, I don't even know who my neighbours are. You know? Or people are quite standoffish now, or they're so busy, they're never actually outside mowing their lawns to stop and talk to you, sort of thing. So I think that's a really, and your street almost feels like that as you drive up here, like it's a really nice, homely, welcoming sort of.
If I can't find my husband, I just drive down the road and I'm like, oh yeah, he's in that person's lounge having a beer. But it is like that, and it is really important, I guess, just having that network. And these days it's not, like you say, it's not there as much.
No, it's not. Higher fences, and again, like it's not like that here, but you know, higher fences and people sort of live out the back, and
because we're busy, and by the time you get home you're like, oh, I'm buggered, I don't really feel like chatting to Martin. No offence, Martin, but no, I love chatting to Martin. But it's pretty cool having that, and then just, you know, knowing people, saying hi.
I think there's a lot to be said for our communities and connecting into who's around us, like just where we live. Which moves us into environment. So we talk a lot about environment in lots of different channels. So it can be your home environment, work environment, sustainability, the environment you create around yourself in any way, shape or form. But with you working from home, I think it's a really great thing to talk to you about how you've created spaces, how you've sort of created your boundaries, and what's made all of those things easy, everything we've talked about today, really.
I think I've also said to you that I have like quite a set day, a little bit of a creature of habit, and I love to have my whole environment like super organised. So when I get up in the morning, I almost do the same things and make sure the house is like immaculate. But that's not because it's immaculate, that's because it helps my mindset when I go and do my day, which at the moment means a baby at home that sleeps twice a day. I work twice a day. So I like to have things done. I like to feel like I'm organised, and then mentally I'm able to move to that next space, which is also within my home. And then I can just really delve into what I'm doing and just be really focused and make sure that I'm actually quite surprised. Sometimes I reckon old life, 8 hours work, new life, 2 hours work, same productivity.
I agree.
It's like, and that's not to say anyone that doesn't have children doesn't work like that, but I'm a fluffer. And I'm like, I go into different tangents all the time because that's just my mind. But now I'm like, that work needs to be done. I want to be present in that time around that sleep for my child, and so I'm getting shit done and I'm going to make it happen. So I like to pretty much step into my office, and that's my workspace. I've got my list. Going to have boxes next to that now. And
satisfaction too.
Yeah. I highlight and cross, but it's quite messy, and then sometimes I need to relight it, highlight and...
When you cross it, then if you want to go back to it, you can't, that's fine.
Then you're like, change this whole thing up. I just have things pretty structured, pretty organised. Office is office, home is home. We lived in a tiny house before here. We renovated a shed and lived in that. And that was really hard because we had, I think, probably 60 square metres of business, home, dogs, like chaos. And that was probably a big learning to be like, you've got to pull that away so that your lounge is no longer kind of work, kind of home, kind of TV. So,
oh my gosh. But look, character building. Totally. I always say that about even renos. I'm like, character building.
Character building.
You can get through that.
Put a lot down to character building.
So something we talk about again with environments is the values that we have and the values that we bring into environments. Because often we say we've got 15 or 20 different values, but do we live strong to them every single day in any environment? So talk to us, do you have any non-negotiable values that you have in any environment that you're a part of?
Yes, so many. I know we've also had a little discussion about the sustainability, environment side of things, and a non-negotiable for my business is doing the best we can for that environment. For example, we're just moving into hopefully 90 to 100% recycled polys. Wow. So that's, and I think we may have touched on this at one point, that you can't always be 100% where you want to be all the time, and that progression and that time and that change can be something that you just chip away at, because if you're not moving in that direction, that's no good. But if you are, then great, you're making things happen. So we like the likes of being a really small business, but we make sure that we do spend more money on courier bags so that they can decompose. We do make sure that if we ever get anything from overseas, we request it in a non-oil based tissue paper as opposed to a plastic wrap. Everything that comes in plastic here or to the rest of the team gets reused. Yeah. And I think when I actually delve down to why, it's because I used to work for a big company that would send pallets of plastic. Don't ask me who it was. No, I wouldn't. Pallets of plastic. Yeah. And I would be selling things, and then it would be Christmas week, and you would have 20 pallets of what you know is plastic that's probably going to go nowhere. And I just remember thinking, why do we think that this is not going to basically bite us in the ass at some point? Like, why do we think that we can send all of this product in and on every level in every country around the entire world, and we're not going to have a repercussion? And it's not about not being in the top seat of that big company and being like, right, no plastic, it's not happening, because there's a lot of process and a lot of change and a lot of development and product stuff that you've got to look at. But every level of our life we can make some change, and that can be from like disposable nappies, and I'll say my child's 1 and I only just bought some last night, but I did make a change. And it's about looking at every part of our life, and particularly for me because I'm producing things, and going, what can we do better? So that's a massive thing for me, and having a business that is putting product out there is just trying to do it the best that we can. Yeah. And when we caught up too, you said, like, if there's a better choice, take it. And I think that's great. And I think we talked also about, often someone will be like, right, I'm going to not use takeaway coffee cups anymore. But then there's that one time they use a takeaway coffee cup and someone will have a dig. Oh, didn't you say? Yeah, you were not using. What? And they're like, and you... Actually, 95% of the time I'm doing my absolute best. You just crucified me on a day that, I didn't really need it because I feel bad anyway. But we're doing our best. That still means that she wasn't using, 10 that week, and that's one. It's still... And if we all did that and you looked at overall data, you would see a huge change, which is what we need. And I think that often can just be a little bit scary for everyone. But if we're all doing our bit, and that, like for me, that's within my business, because I know each week we're sending out lots of product. And so if I can look into different things, which unfortunately for corporates and businesses and consumers means a cost, and that's usually a financial cost, but we can retrain that to need less. And that's the other thing. I think, like, we probably saw that with COVID, is that we couldn't get anything, and so we then realised that we didn't need as much, and then we sort of found other areas of life where we could fulfil that, like baking and eating and banana bread, chocolate, and all those things. But we've almost gotten so used to just having so much all the time at ease, that it's really not great for our environment. And that also is environment as in within ourselves, because we don't need it. It's that busy rut, right? Like
people, like, I don't know how many times I've heard the conversation, like, oh yeah, but I've always done that. Like, yeah, but you don't have to keep doing it that way. And so it's the same with your recycling or, you know, food waste or whatever it is. Like, yeah, but we've always done it that way. That's cool.
Yeah.
If you just did this, you
but
know.
in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Because if we ask our parents, they'd be like, no, we didn't do that.
No.
No, we did have a veggie garden. No, we did, you know. But it is time and it's balance, right? Like.
And that's the thing. We're time poor, and which leads us beautifully into our last topic of the day. So we talked to everybody about portion distortion and how we all have finite amount of time every single day and / our lives, and how we use that as always a stress, whether you have children or not, or you're in corporate or you work for yourself, or you know, whatever it is, it's a stress and it's something we're all trying to work through. So what are some strategies you've put in place, and what are some challenges you've faced with time, and how have you sort of overcome them, or what are you still overcoming?
My time. Bedtime?
Yeah.
I brought that forward because I used to just work at night and just get everything done. But I sort of touched on it before, like, I think it's okay to sit a little bit uncomfortably with being really busy sometimes. Like, as much as I got to a point where I realised that I needed to change things, with my situation with working a job and whatnot, I was very fortunate to have an amazing employer because they were in full support of what I was doing, and it just took discussion, and I think that's a big part, is communicating with other people. And I rang my boss one day and I was like, I'm going to be really honest, I'm really struggling. Like, I've got this job that I want to keep, and I want to keep it for another 6 months. And I've got this business which I've told you about, and you've been really supportive. What can I do to make that work, and will it work for you?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, it will. Like, we don't really want anyone off the road in the next 6 months. We don't want to retrain someone. So I'm going to go to the boss and have a chat. And do you want to do 3 days a week? And I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. Wow. So I think, like, realistic, being open with people. Yeah. Like, and being like, I'm really struggling because I don't have the time to do this. And just reevaluating those expectations and realising that every single person you're dealing with is also human and also facing those same struggles. Like, they know that sometimes a deadline needs to be changed. Like, because we all need to do that. So
it's also a testament to you, though, because they wouldn't have been that kind or flexible if you hadn't been that kind and flexible back. You know, like it's, you know,
and that's
there's
like,
a lot of that.
You've got to be. It's a two-way street. And in the end, actually, I worked longer than I resigned. Like, I think I worked out like a 3-month notice period because for them, in the end, they were like, we really can't have anyone leave. And I was like, well, it's actually working for me too. It's fine. I'll hang in there. I can still see the end date. And then that is the whole reevaluation. Like, it can work. It's just about being really honest and open about that.
That's awesome. And hats off to whoever your boss was.
Oh, he was so cool.
Yeah.
Great boss.
That's the kind of people we need more in leadership roles.
Yeah.
So of all of this discovery and all of our discussions today, how important have you found it to make time for things that bring you joy?
Really important.
Yeah.
Because actually, at the end of the day, at the end of our lives, like, you don't want to be like, oh, so busy. Like, I'm so busy. I work so much. It was great. Like, you know, like, it's a lot of work and career and all of those things can bring a lot of joy. But at the end of the day, and I say this to my husband, who, with a very unfortunate summer, has got a boat that's sat in the driveway for probably seen more rain than seawater. But you know, like, we're really busy people, and he's worked extremely hard to have that boat. It's been a big part of what he's worked towards in the last 5 years. And I'm like, sometimes you've just got to pause and enjoy, because going out and seeing the dolphins that you saw last time was really awesome, and not catching that fish. Bit of a joke in our house, but you know, like, that's the stuff you remember. So sometimes you just have to be like, it's time to just enjoy my life. It really, you've just got to put everything aside and be like, yep, I'm out. You should have a picnic on the boat or something. Yeah, we should. We'll just give him a captain's cap to sit at the front of the boat and just play in it in the driveway. Just put some water music on in the background or something. We have some quick fire questions to finish off today. That was priceless.
3 things that made you smile today.
Oh, Harrïe snoring in the background. Just being able to have this conversation, it's really cool. Like, yeah, really cool. And coffee.
Nice. Nice. That's a frequent flyer in this. What are some of your favourite books?
Oh, love the Seven Sisters series. Yep. They're awesome. I'm such a trashy reader. Like, I just love escaping.
Nice.
Just read the Colleen Hoover book. Really bizarre, but couldn't put it down.
Wow.
Yeah, I just like anything that takes me to another planet.
Wow.
Just, love it. Heaps of different books.
What is your top tip for being creative?
Just being who you are and not being afraid. Just try something. Yeah, I reckon just go for it.
More often than not, eh? What's a piece of clothing that everyone needs?
A thresher.
Yeah.
Have you got a thresher?
Yes, I do.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
My blue one's so good. Mine's the top, not the dress. It's so good.
Yeah, you can do either. Or you could do both.
Yeah. Call me.
Yeah.
What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, Mustang Sally.
Oh, nice.
I sang it at our wedding after a few too many wines. Really embarrassing. And every time it comes on, I'm like, ooh.
There's that
but
time.
Great song.
Memories. Joy, see? Who cares? Joy.
Yeah.
Brought you joy. What is your favourite board game?
Yahtzee.
Oh, yeah. I haven't played of all the board
There's
games.
a
I
bit of a
haven't
family
played that.
game.
Yeah.
And you actually kind of have to use your brain just a little bit because it's quite strategic.
With your sisters, play Throw Burrito.
Throw burrito.
We got it given to us at Christmas, and it is so funny.
What do
have
you
a couple
do?
wines and do it.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that sounds
absolutely
like
great.
me.
But with kids as well, so once you're saying
Do you actually throw a burrito?
Yeah, you absolutely throw a burrito. They're rubber. They don't hurt. But it's so funny getting smacked with something. It's just so funny.
Okay, I'll look into that.
What do you do on Mother's Day?
Oh, well, I had my first Mother's Day, and I was like, I'm staying in bed.
Nice.
What is for breakfast? Where's my present? No, I'm kidding.
I was going to say set the standard early.
We usually all catch up as a family and then like do something with mum.
Nice.
And then do something together. Yeah, just family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the key, eh? Last one. Qualities you love about yourself.
Oh, shit. I wish I read these before. I'm pretty relaxed. Like, I like to go with the flow. Like, I'm not, as much as I sound like super regimented, I just go with it. And I've really focused on being kind to people and learning about people and talking and just getting, I think you can get a lot from meeting people and having conversations. So that's kind of my big thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And beautiful way to round this out today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for coming.
There's so many good learnings, I think, around that structuring your time, but boundaries as well, and understanding what works for you and what doesn't, and how to actually thrive in the environment that you're in. So if you're working from home, how do I actually make this a really
make it work?
Yeah, something that works for all of us. So thank you so much for watching today. It has been an awesome kōrero as always. Let us know in the comments below some of your thoughts about it. Share it with someone who you know that's going to enjoy it, and check out some of our other videos as well. Ka kite.